If you've never worked with a recruiter before, or if you've worked with a recruiter and you were left disappointed because they didn't help you find your dream job, then this video is for you. Today, I'm going to share 4 tips to help you make the most of your experience working with a recruiter. We're going to talk about the recruiter's role in your job search, how to help your recruiter help you, how to stand out above the rest during the interview process, and the most important thing you need to keep in mind when working with a recruiter. Hi, I'm Vanessa Rosenblum. I'm the president and founder of Pro REA Staffing, and we're a nationwide recruiting firm that specializes in placing real estate assistants and coordinators with real estate teams. And over the last 10 years, we've placed over 1,000 candidates in real estate jobs nationwide. Now, before we dig into today's video, this channel is all about fostering careers in real estate and growing real estate teams. So if this is a topic that interests you, please consider subscribing. Okay, before we get into our 4 tips, there's one thing you really need to understand about the recruiting industry. Recruiters get paid in one of 2 ways. Either they are a retained search recruiter or they work on contingency. Pro REA Staffing is a retained search firm. What that means is part of our fee is paid upfront by the client. And this means that we have a fiduciary responsibility to work as hard as we can to fill that role. And we work as a consultant with our client through the hiring process. In contrast, contingent recruiters are only paid when they place the candidate the client hires, and they may not have exclusive rights to work on that job, which means you might see different versions of that job ad posted by different recruiters or by the employer. This model, while it may sound like it's more efficient because more people are working on the search, the quality of the experience for both the candidate and the employer can be diminished because it's just a race against time, and it's you'll be minimally screened with little consultation, and it's sort of throwing things against the wall to see what sticks. When you work with a retained search firm, while the recruiter is being paid by the client and not by the candidate, the recruiter serves as a consultant for both sides because they have a vested interest in making sure that you are successful in the role that you're placed in. And so it's much more of a quality search experience versus a quantity search experience. Now, when you find out that you've applied to a job that is posted by a recruiter, you absolutely can ask whether or not the search is retained or contingent and whether the recruiter has exclusivity for that search. And that will just give you an understanding of what this experience with this recruiter might be like. Now, as I mentioned earlier, our fee is always paid by the client. So either way, whether you work with a contingent recruiter or a retained search recruiter, you get help with your job search for free. So, finding a great recruiter, befriending them, staying in contact with them serves you throughout your career. All right, let's get into my 4 tips for working with a recruiter. A recruiter's role in your search is to act as a matchmaker, not a gatekeeper. And this is especially true for retained search recruiters. Look, as recruiters, we want to help everyone find a job. We love connecting people with opportunities. However, we know our clients' quirks, likes and dislikes, and their hot buttons. And we are here to make sure that we only move people forward who are well qualified for the job and that employer, which means we might know something about that employer which disqualifies you from the job, even though you have skills and experience. So, for example, this person might be highly sensitive to an employee who has job hopped significantly in their career. And if you've held 4 jobs in 4 years, we know that this client is never going to be comfortable hiring you. So, I say that because I want you to understand that just because you're declined for a job doesn't mean that the recruiter doesn't think you're qualified. They just understand what is important to their client. Now, if you're declined for a job and you disagree, you think you're highly qualified, it's absolutely okay to politely reach out to your recruiter and ask for feedback. You might have a blind spot that you don't realize, or you might learn something that can help you as you move forward in your career. You can also use this opportunity to highlight why you think you're a great fit for the role. And who knows, the recruiter might slow down, reevaluate your application, and considering moving you forward because you raised your hand and you got their attention. So it never hurts to ask. Okay, tip number 2, help us help you. Again, we want to help you find your dream job, but if you don't know what you want, it makes it really hard for us to help you. So take the time to get crystal clear on what you want. Where do you want to work? What do you want to earn? What kind of environment do you want to be in? What do you want to learn in this job so that it helps you get to where you want to go next? You need to communicate all of that to your recruiter so that they match you with a company who can support you on your career journey. Now, the surefire way to tick off your recruiter is to tell your recruiter one thing and then tell the client something else. So this happens sometimes when somebody is earlier in their job search and they tell us that they want a certain salary. Then they start interviewing with other firms. They learn more about the requirements and the responsibilities of this particular role that they're being put forward to. And they tell the client that they want significantly more money than what they told the recruiter. Now, this makes the recruiter look bad, and basically you're throwing this person under the bus when they're trying to help you get a job. So if you change your mind about what you want to earn or any other criteria, acknowledge to the client that you said something different to your recruiter and have that conversation with your recruiter as well so they can support you in hopefully getting what it is you're looking for, if it aligns with the market. So again, don't throw your recruiter under the bus. Tell us the truth. Tell us exactly what you want. And if you change your mind, communicate that. Okay, tip number 3, how to stand out in the interview process. Keep in mind, recruiters are talking to a lot of people and they receive a lot of resumes. So make it easy to be remembered by standing out and being excellent. This starts with your resume. Make it obvious why you're a great fit and what your qualifications are. Don't bury it in a lot of heavy wording. Keep it clean and simple and well proofread. Next, once you're in the interview process, understand that every recruiter has a screening process. It's their job to make sure only the most qualified candidates get in front of the client. And I know you want to move forward as quickly as possible, but it doesn't help your case to fight the process. So, if there are assignments that you're asked to complete or multiple interviews that you're asked to complete, that's the process and it's there for a reason. At Pro REA Staffing, we've worked really hard to respect our candidates' time and minimize the amount of work we ask candidates to do before we move them forward. One of the things we ask candidates to do is complete a 4 or 5 question skills test. And this is pretty simple stuff, but what's amazing is how many people don't slow down and take the assignment seriously. For example, one of the questions we often ask is we ask candidates to schedule a calendar invite. So we'll give the location, the date, the time, and we tell them to use any calendar system they want to schedule an appointment and just take a screenshot of the page and upload the screenshot. It's shocking how many people mess this up. They misspell the name of the meeting room. They use a different date or time. This is a really simple assignment. Schedule a calendar appointment. If you're going to be an assistant, you should be able to do this. And yet, too many people mess this up and we can't move them forward. So slow down, pay attention, and do the task that you're asked to do. Along with that is make sure that you follow up and follow through. Your proactive nature is really important. Your ability to say, yep, I've got that, I'll get that to you by 5 o'clock today, and you get it in by 4:30, your recruiter notices. And those little things help you stand out. And finally, going along with that is communicate, communicate, communicate. Tell your recruiter when you hear from a client. Follow up with your recruiter after every interview with the client that they've put you forward to interview with. Give them your feedback. What did you like? What did you dislike? What are your concerns? Again, your recruiter is there to help you find the right job and find a right match. And if something doesn't feel right, or if you're really excited and you want them to know how excited you are, communicate. All of that helps you stand out in the recruiter's mind. They get to know you more. And even if you don't land that first job, you'll be top of mind when a similar job comes available in the future. Okay, final tip. This is so important, you guys. Every interaction matters. From your follow up and follow through to your communication, to every email you send. Proofread, think about how you're presenting yourself, be proactive, and be polite and be kind to everyone you interact with, because all of that speaks to who you are. It makes you stand out to your recruiter, it makes you stand out to the person you're interviewing with, at the company you're interested in. And being kind, being thoughtful, following through, sending thank you notes, all of that matters. So pay attention to how you're showing up and presenting yourself as a professional at every single step of your interview process. And I promise, if you do that, it goes a long way to helping you land your dream job. Okay, now you have my 4 tips for working with a recruiter to land your dream job. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a like and consider subscribing. And if you're looking for a role in residential real estate, go to proreastaffing.com to view our open jobs and apply. Talk to you soon.